Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear students. So we are together with the lesson 12 in this series of lessons about English grammar with Dr. Sahihana. Starts. Okay, it is about the sentence. The sentence. Normally the sentence is a group of words. Of course, this group of words normally are arranged logically, subject, verb, object, and we have different patterns for the sentence. So the sentence normally has an order. This set of order, we call it the word order. It is the words arrangement in the sentence. The word order influences the meaning of the English sentence. So the way we organize the sentence parts here, it affects normally the meaning of the sentence. So the subject, verb, object or is the basic word order in English. The cook burned the dinner. The cook is the subject. Did what? He burned what? The dinner. So the cook burned the dinner. It is normally the logical order, or this is the word order in English sentence. The English sentence normally it contains a subject plus a verb plus object plus an adverb. I may have in the object a noun phrase and the subject a noun phrase, and this noun phrase it can be an adjective preceded by an article and followed by a noun. And the verb, it can be a single verb, it can be a compound or double verb. So here the adverb, it answers, it gives further information about the verb, about the object, about the whole sentence. So I waited at the corner. I waited, here it's a verb that do not need or does not need the object here, and here I answer the question where I waited where at the corner. He read the note quickly, it is to answer how. I bought a hat yesterday, it is to answer when. So the adverb also adds something else. So the natural or the basic word order is subject, verb and object, and what we add is an additional information. Okay, it is additional information. So we move to sentence forms. This is normally number 2. The sentence forms, it is normally number 2. So the sentence form, it can be statements, and when I say a statement, I'm talking about a declarative form of the sentence. Okay, it can be a question, it can be a command, and it can be an exclamation. So as a statement, we can see the example that we have here. The shops close. I don't close at night. So it ends with a full stop. This is what? This is a statement, a declarative sentence. A question. The question, it is normally a sentence that is normally a bit not arranged like the other declarative sentences. So here I put the verb first, then the subject, then comes another thing. For example, I say, do the shops close at 7 tonight? So here I start with the verb, then with the subject. So it can be like this. It can be also WH question. The WH question can be, for example, to ask more information about the subject or the verb or anything else. For example, I tell you, when do you finish? Usually, when do you finish? So you tell me I finish at 7. Okay, so here I ask about a time. So I use the WH questions. And here normally the supposed answer to this type of questions is normally yes or no, and that's why they are called the yes and no questions. Yet the WH questions are normally the questions that contain such kind of question words that are used to answer a certain information. WH questions or yes or no questions. Okay. The command, it is an order, it is a request, or it is the imperative form of the verb. So here I say shut the door, don't shut the door. Shut the door and don't shut the door. Here the subject is hidden, and you have a verb and you have an object, but the subject is hidden. It can be considered as an order, it can be considered as a request, it can be normally considered as a, we call it imperative form. An exclamation, an example of exclamation, it can be like one word, it can be like a question, but normally we don't end with a question mark. Okay, we end with an exclamation mark. Sorry for this typing mistake. So what slow train this is? Here we don't have inversion of the subject and verb. What a slow train this is. So here it's an exclamation. I'm expressing the surprise. I'm expressing, for example, I don't know, things that are unclear for me. So surprise, it can be anything else. So these are normally the different sentence forms. So they can be statement, which is declarative, exclamative sentence, it can be imperative, command, and it can be interrogative, which is a question. Now we move to the kinds of sentences. So the kinds of sentences in English, we have four main kinds of sentences. We have the simple, the compound, the complex, and the compound complex. So the simple, normally it is one independent clause. For example, I say, this car is made in Germany. So it is a simple declarative sentence. There is a subject, verb, object, and full stop. Okay, so it is a one sentence, one independent clause. The compound, it is two independent clauses linked together by these ways, by what we call them the coordinating conjunctions, that are mainly, we call them the fanboys, and we have seen them with the conjunctions in the lesson of conjunctions. We have seen, normally it is lesson number 8, we have seen the different coordinating conjunctions, and we have seen the correlative conjunctions too. And this normally conjunctions, form of conjunctions, they link between the independent clauses in the compound sentence. And there are normally 7 main coordinating conjunctions, and we call them fanboys. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Okay, so if you write fanboys, you are going to find that each word or each letter in this word fanboys means a conjunction. So I write it on the slide here. Fun. Okay. Boys. Okay. So each normally letter means something. So here it is a for, it is and, it is nor, it is but, or, yet, and so. So I'm not going to write all of them because I have already mentioned them before. So these are the compound sentences. The game of basketball was invented in the United States, but it is now popular all over the world. Okay, So as you have seen here, what do we have? We have a comma, and a but, which is the coordinating conjunction. Complex, normally in the complex sentence we either have a relative pronoun or adverb and or subordinating clauses. And normally in the complex sentence we should have one main clause or one independent clause, plus at least one subordinate clause or more. For example, a sports teacher invented the game because he wanted his students to have a sport that could play indoors during the cold months of winter. So this is normally a part of the game of basketball. So a sport teacher invented this game because, so a sport teacher invented the game. So it is a main clause. This is what? This is the independent main clause. So independent, it means main. So this is normally the main clause, okay? And because he wanted his students, it is the reason for inventing this game. So here, this is dependent to, this is subordinate to the independent clause, to the main clause. So it is part of it. It completes its meaning. So this is normally the complex kind of sentences. We move now to the compound sentences. The compound complex, it's normally a combination between compound sentences and complex sentences. The compound sentences, they are two independent clauses plus at least one dependent clause. So here we can say it is compound and it is complex. So at least we have two independent clauses in this case. Otherwise we cannot call them compound complex. For example, the first basketball or baskets were peach baskets, okay, which were attached to the walls of the school gymnasium. And the first basketball were normally soccer balls. So here what do we have? Two independent clauses and one dependent clause. So where is the dependent clause? The dependent clause or the subordinate clause, which were attached to the walls. So this is normally a relative clause, okay? And where is the second independent? This is second independent. So this is as if one independent clause which contains a dependent clause and which is normally followed by an independent clause too. So all of them, we have two independent and one dependent or subordinate clause, or we can also call it a relative clause. Now we move to the subjects and predicate. They are normally the sentence parts of the or the parts of the sentence. So in the sentence I can have two parts. Part number one is the subject, part number two is the predicate. So what to say about the subject, what to add to the subject is all called the predicate. So the dog is a subject, barks all day long, it is the predicate. So it tells us more about the dog. So that's why it is called a predicate. And the predicate and the subject, normally concerning the subject, we can have a complete subject and we still have a simple subject. A complete subject, it is longer than the simple. So here, predicate, the subject, it can be simple and it can be complete. We call it complete because it is long and it adds more about the main subject. For example, the dog, it is simple. I say, the dog that I put, or the dog of my neighbor, the dog which is over there, or the dog of John, or something like that. So this is complete. So the more it is longer, the more it is considered as complete subject. Barks all day long, so this is normally of course it is an addition to the main subjects. Okay, so we move now to the sentence patterns. So the sentence patterns, here we talk about the word order. Each sentence differs from another sentence in terms of its parts, its arrangements. So the first main pattern here, when I have a subject plus an intransitive verb. So the sentences in English, they can come in forms of 6 main patterns. Okay, these are the 3, and these are the 3 other ones. Okay, before saying thank you. So what do we have here? We have pattern number 1, which is a subject and the predicates, of course. Subject and predicate, this is normally the general pattern. But concerning the main patterns, we have subject plus intransitive verb. What is intransitive verb? It is the verb that do not need a subject. It does not need an object, sorry. No objects following them. Okay, when I don't have an object after them, you say, and the meaning is full, it means that it is intransitive. Dogs bark, so I don't need an object here, so it is intransitive. The baby is sleeping, so it does not need an object, so it is intransitive. In other case, or we have another pattern, which is a subject plus predicate, and the predicate, and most of the time what makes normally the difference between sentence patterns is the predicates. So when I say linking verb plus a subject complement, it differs. For example, I say our neighbor's dog looks lonely. Lonely, it is an adjective. It is an adjective that completes the subject. We call it a subject what? Complement. So it is called the subject complement. So we use a highlighter or we use the laser pointer. So lonely, it's an adjective. Dogs are sociable animals. So it is like here as if they are equal. So the meaning of linking verbs, it is as if to make the subject and its object, which is considered as a complement, equal. So neighbor's dog is equal to loneliness. Okay, dogs are equal to sociable animals. So it is a linking verb for that sense. Okay, so this is called a subject complement, which is normally followed by a linking verb. So as if to say this one is equal to this one. So the dog is equal to loneliness. The dog is equal to social animals, sociable animals. Okay. So pattern number 3. In pattern number 3, what do we have? Pattern number 3, the subject, it's okay. The predicates can be transitive verb plus direct object. Okay. The transitive verb need attention. Need what? Attention. We visited home our aunts. So here this is a transitive verb that needs direct objects. Okay. These are the main 3 patterns of the sentence. We move now. Pattern 4. With pattern 4, I can have a subject, normal, plus a transitive verb, and the transitive verb needs 2 objects. Okay, direct objects, sorry, before moving to the direct, indirect, direct objects and object complements. We are going to see how. Our neighbors leave their dog alone. Okay, or named their dog Fifi. So here, this complement completes the dog. This one also completes this one. So here, this is a transitive verb that needs a direct object and object complements. This is a complement for the objects, and as you have seen here, this is a complement to the subject, so it is a subject complement. Okay, and this is normally a complement for the object, not for the subjects. Okay, pattern 5. Here what do we have? We have a subject, transitive verb, and two objects for the verb. One is indirect and the other one is direct. So they should give Fifi, the dog, more attention. So they normally it is supposed to be they should give more attention to Fifi. Okay, they bought her a new leash. Normally they bought a new leash to her. So this is a direct object and indirect object. 6, or pattern number 6, what do we have? There or it. There and it are called impersonal pronouns. Okay, impersonal pronouns or subjects. They are used. They don't mean someone, or we say there is, but it is not a real subject. Okay, there isn't any hot weather. It's a fact. There isn't any hot weather. It is nice to meet you. Okay, so here it is not a real subject. It is called the impersonal pronoun. Okay, so these are normally the 6 main patterns that we have in English. Okay, so when I talk about the patterns, so I talk about the shapes of the sentence. Okay, so the sentence, especially the declarative one, here, and even if I talk about the declarative, and this can be used as questions. So if they are questions, so we invert only the verb and subject, but the rest will stay as it is. The subject is a subject and the object is an object and the verb is a verb. So no change in this. It is just a question of inverting the subject with the verb, or sometimes I add the auxiliary do. Okay, so the patterns of English, there are 6. They are just different shapes that normally the sentence can take. It can be subjects plus intransitive verb. It can be subject plus linking verb plus subject complement. It can be subject plus transitive verb plus direct object. It can be also subject plus transitive verb plus direct and or object complement and object complement. Or it can be subject, transitive, indirect and direct objects. Or it can be with impersonal pronouns when the verb usually is the verb to be, of course, plus a subject which comes after. So there is, where is the subject? We don't have a subject. This, there and it are impersonal, and the subject comes after the verb, and this is normally an exceptional case. And here we have isn't any hot weather. Okay, any hot weather, it's considered as a subject in this sentence. I hope, my dear students, that you have an idea about the sentence word order, the different types of or the forms of the sentence, the statement, the question, the command, and the exclamation. And these forms, they are not influenced by by the kind of the sentence or by the pattern of sentence. So the pattern, it can be a statement, can be a question. So all the 6 patterns that we have seen can be used in the statements or in the questions, or mainly in these 2 sentence kinds. And these sentence kinds, they can come in forms of questions and they can come in forms of statements. We have also the sentence parts, subject and the predicate, and the sentence patterns that we have seen. Now I hope that my dear students, that you have benefited from these lessons concerning English language grammar. Here we try to give you just the main points related to the lessons, parts of speech mainly, then we move to the sentence, and before moving to the sentence types, etc., etc., we focused much more on the active and passive, as well as reported speech, which are very important in mastering the language of English. I hope that you have benefited from these videos. Thank you very much, my dear students. See you in other videos. Bye.